the best way to study for long. I started at, now I woke up at 5:30. Okay, I woke up at 5 to 5:30 around this time. Around this time I woke up. Okay, I slept at 10 or 10:30 p.m. Okay, 10 to 10:30 p.m. This was during the last 6 months before the exam. Okay, one of these last 6 months came fasting, Ramadan month of fasting. Okay, then let's consider 30 days. I'll tell you that story also. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is I can also tell you how I studied and how I slept off. Both I'm going to tell, right? So 5:30 p.m. I woke up. 5:30, sorry, a.m. 5:30 a.m. I woke up. That doesn't mean you also have to wake up at 5:30. You can wake up at any time you want. Okay? 5:30 a.m. I woke up. I got freshened up. Freshened means I brushed my teeth and washed my face and I went to a table. I never studied from my bed. Never studied from my bed. All the classes I went to were online. One thing, because it was Corona, quarantine, so we have to go online. But even if physical was allowed, I would still watch online. What I did was, when I watched online classes, I didn't go live classes even. I always watch recordings. Or I go to the live class, put my laptop to record, and I would do something else. That is how I always did classes. I will tell you why in a bit. Right? So I woke up at 5:30. I freshened up. I started 6. Exactly at 6. Exactly at 6 I started. So what I need to do for the day, I planned it last night. So if let's say today is 18th of May. Okay, let's say I'm doing A levels this time. 18th of May. 17th of May night at around 9:30 p.m. Okay. At around 9:30 p.m. I will plan my day. Tomorrow's. That means 18th, 17th of May, tomorrow I will plan my day. So now what will I do? Let's say I want to do biology. I want to do biology. For biology, what will I do? Bio, I want to do 6 essays. This is how I studied. I studied essay method. No, I told you all this before. 6 essays. I want to study 6 essays and do my reviews. What were the reviews? I noted it down. I noted down the reviews I had for 18th of May. So this is for biology. Then physics. Okay, physics. 2000 ALMCQ. ALMCQ and structure. 2000 ALMCQ and structure. Then chemistry. Chemistry, I did something small. A few organic conversions. Organic conversions, inorganic conversions, or let's say isomerism. You all still haven't done that, no? Okay. So small things. Why? Because now you can see bio have given a majority of it is in biology. Physics also, I am doing one entire MCQ paper. 2000 means they had 60 questions. 2000 A-levels, I think they had 60 questions. 60 questions, and I'm doing a structured paper also. So it's a pretty big one, right? So then therefore, chemistry, I will only give a small part. A small part. So what I did was, this was the plan for work. Now my hardest, or the one that I hated the most here, was biology. But ironically, I teach biology now. But what I hated the most was biology. Okay, so how I started my day was, I always started with biology. Usually when you're waking up in the morning with a plan to study for the day, aren't you motivated in the morning? When you wake up thinking, okay, I need to study, you're motivated, right? As you're studying throughout the day only, you become tired, you become lethargic, you become distracted as you progress throughout the day. So the easy things should be kept for last. Harder things should be done in the beginning. So I considered biology to be hard. So therefore, I did biology in the morning, right? Biology in the morning. So I started with new stuff. I didn't start with the reviews. I always started with learning something new. Because when you learn something new, you get some new knowledge. When you get some new knowledge, you figure out how things work. When you figure out how things work, you feel a sense of satisfaction, don't you think? So now let's say you studied cardiac cycle last week. Let's say you studied cardiac cycle last week. When you studied cardiac cycle, you learned how cardiac cycle works. And then when you When you're reading, you feel like, right, okay, you will get those moments, right? How you understand something that is said in the book. Don't you all feel a bit happy in that? Yes. So I always started with learning something new. So from 6 to around, it usually takes me 3 hours, 3.5 hours to study 6 essays worth of content. Okay, I studied 6 essays worth of content. So now, how do I study 6 essays worth of content without breaking up in the middle? Have you all heard of something known as Pomodoro? Pomodoro method? No. Okay, this one I have to mention. Pomodoro method is when you study intense focus for a set period of time, and after that you take a small break. And then you study again set period of time, and then again you take a small break. The reason behind this is, as your, let's say this is a graph efficiency or effectiveness or focus. Okay, with time study, time spent in study, right? Time spent in study. As you're as you're spending more time in studying, as you're spending more time in studying, will go down like this, right? The effectiveness is like this. As you're studying, like let's say 40 minutes, you will study really well. But once you're reaching the 1.5 hour mark, 2 hours mark, you are studying, you are reading, but then you get distracted. Who called me? Did anybody call me? I feel like there's a phone vibrating. It's very hot now. What is the temperature? What's that sound? And you go and check. So all of this happens somewhere here. You get distracted. So then that is why we have something known as the Pomodoro technique. What Pomodoro technique is, it stops you at this time. Let's say this is 45 minutes. It stops you at this time. It stops you at this time and forces you to take a break. Means you can stop and you take a break. So if you study for 45 minutes, let's say you take a 8-minute break. Okay, 8-minute break. In this 8-minute break, please don't use your phone. Don't use your phone. When you use your phone, have you noticed? When you use TikTok, right? I have noticed this. You can't see the time in my phone. Okay, this is an iPhone, so I'm not very sure whether it's the same for all the phones. When you take TikTok, you can't see the time. You can't see the time. So then you keep scrolling without knowing the time. So usually whenever you use your phone at the top left corner, you have the time or top right, I'm not very sure, right? So you need to scroll it down. That means from the control center, you need to scroll down to see the time. Then only you know how much time you're spending on them. So TikTok, doom scrolling, anything which is scrolling, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, please don't use any phones during this time, during this 8-minute period. Shall I tell you what I did during this 8-minute? So this one I did for my university exams also. During this 8-minute period time, I played music. That means I didn't use the phone. Okay, I just go to Spotify or YouTube Music and I just put the music. The type of music I put is not, what do you say? It's like this hero music. So something like that. So it will give me a sense of motivation, like I'm the main character or something. Then I get a little bit more motivated. Then once that 8 minutes is done, I start work again. So when you start work again, your focus will increase, and then again, if you keep studying, it will go back down. So then at that point, you need to stop again. Take an 8-minute break. You keep doing this for 4 cycles. That is what is usually recommended, 4 cycles. And then after you do 4 45-minute blocks, you take a longer break. 20 minutes or 25 minutes break. Again, during that time, please don't use the phone. During this time, let's say you have to eat breakfast, go and eat breakfast. If you have to eat lunch, go and eat lunch. These are things. When you're eating lunch, right? Your family, everybody will be there. No? So then when you're talking to your family, these 20-25 minutes will go by soon. I'm not telling you to completely discard your family. But during the last 6 months, please completely discard your family. I completely discarded my family when I did the last 6 months. They didn't disturb me at all. They didn't give me any chores, nothing. So if I wear some clothes, my cupboard will be here. I put it there in the corner. Next morning, magically, it will be folded in my cupboard. So my mother does all of that. I don't have to do any work. Okay, during the last 6 months, no work. You all also say, please, for this last 6 months, don't disturb me with anything. Right? So go quickly eat, come back to your room. After this 25-minute timer is done, again start this process. 4, 4, 4. And at the end of the day, right, I used an app. For this, I used an app. So it will show me how many blocks I have done. So when I see these blocks, it gives me a sense of satisfaction. Why? Because I have studied this much. Don't you think it will give you a sense of satisfaction? When you see this many blocks that you have completed, that you have put in the work and done, you will feel a sense of satisfaction. So then, this is one method to be able to study for longer periods of time. Okay, that is called Pomodoro. That is how I started in the beginning. But now, since I have been studying for so long, I've been researching on how to study from A levels itself. Right now, what I do is something known as Pomodoro. It's a combination of another thing, right? So over here, you take 45 minutes to study now. Regardless of what you were doing, at the end of 45 minutes, you stop your studying and you take a break. Yes? Yes or no? Now tell me, aren't there certain days where you are so motivated that you can study for 2 hours without breaking concentration? Has that ever happened? Has that ever happened? Especially when you're doing physics and chemistry, where you can study for so long without taking a break. And then you look at the time, damn, I studied for that long. So those type of moments is just a waste to take this break. Don't you think? Now, the reason why we are taking this break is to regain our focus now. So if your focus is not being lost, you can study for longer periods of time. Yes. So then that's what I do. So when I start studying, instead of giving time blocks, what I can do is, since there are 6 essays, I want to finish one essay before I take a break. So then when I start studying this essay, instead of starting a countdown, I start a timer. Sorry, stopwatch. I start a stopwatch. So then once I finish this essay, now I study this essay, I close the book, I record it, and then I look at the stopwatch. Let's say it says 35 minutes. 35 minutes. If it says 35 minutes, and if I feel like I need to take a break, then I will take a small 5-minute break. If not, I will study another essay. And now if it's around 70 minutes, and now I will see, do I still feel demotivated? Do I feel distracted? No, I don't feel distracted. Then I will keep going. But at any point, if I do feel distracted, let's say by 80 minutes mark, now I'm studying the third essay. By studying the third essay, it's not going into my head and I'm getting distracted. Then I see the stopwatch, 80 minutes, I pause it. I take a 10-minute break. 10-minute break, I walk around my room, I go to the balcony, or I may be listening to some music. Okay, then I come back down and sit and start. Sometimes, even after you come back down and sit and start, you still can't study that essay. Then what do? Don't waste your time. Move on to another subject. This process is known as interleaving. So when you're doing one certain task for a long period of time, let's take bio for example. If you're studying bio for a long period of time, eventually you get fed up. You may keep memorizing these essays. It's a pain. I'm studying cardiac science. I'm studying hypertension. I had enough of this now. Then you do something else. Don't stop your studying, but rather switch your subjects. Switch the subject and go and study chemistry or physics. Do the MCQ. And then now once you do the MCQs, you study that subject properly. Then after that, once you're done, come and attempt these essays again. Now you will be fresh, not fresh as in now you will not be thinking about bio much because you moved on to another subject. Then as you come and attempt these biology essays again, it might be easy. Okay, so that process is known as interleaving because humans crave stimulation. So we want to do many different things, right? So we want to do many different things. So when we are stuck doing one thing for a long period of time, we will surely get bored. So make sure you switch. There are some students who study one whole day biology, one whole day physics, one whole day chemistry. I don't think that works, but if it works for them, it works for them. But it will not work for me. Why? Because I get bored eventually. Okay, so this process, so whilst you're doing this process, if you feel like you can't get it anymore, you move to another subject. Okay, so this is how I this is how I made sure that I studied for a long period of time. Okay, then after that, so 6 to 9:30, I studied biology. Okay, and the new stuff, the new 6 essays. Then from 9:30 onwards, I do the reviews. let's say the reviews took up till 11 o'clock. Usually by 11 o'clock, I try to finish biology. Usually by 11 o'clock, I try to finish biology. Then at that time, I take a longer break, around 30 minutes. If I have if there's food, I eat something. And then at 11:30, again, I will start. Now, whenever you finish biology or whenever you finish hard tasks, now I determine that biology is hard. I feel so happy once I finish biology. Really happy. Because the hardest thing for that day is done. All that's left is physics and chemistry. So then I start doing physics. I start with 2000 A-level MCQ. For me, chemistry was the easiest compared to all three. Chemistry was the easiest. So I put chemistry to the last all the time. So I took the physics paper and I started doing. Now, when I tell you all to do questions, you always need to attempt it, read the reviews, and try to get it right the next time. So now, if there is a question on work energy power, you're attempting that work energy power question. You got that question wrong. So now let's say 2000 A-level MCQ, there are 60 MCQs. I did 60 and I got 35 wrong. 35 wrong. Then how much is remaining? 25. So these 25, I need to make sure I understand why I got wrong. So then there are so many English medium review books now. There are so many English medium review books. So open those review books and read why you got wrong. There's Rosa, Tushar, there are so many people who make review books. Or you can go on to YouTube and search. Now, physics, if it's taught in Sinhala or Tamil or English, it's maths, no, it's sums. As they are writing on the board, you will understand. So watch a YouTube video. If you make a mistake, please don't move forward until you correct it. So that doesn't mean you waste all your time on that question also. You put allocated time. Okay, within 2.5 minutes or something, I need to figure out what's wrong. If I can't figure out, I move on to the next question. To move on to the next question. Take the questions which you didn't know how to do even after reading the review books, and then you send it to your teachers. Back then, we had a group called Study Link where so many people discuss their answers. So you also send these questions onto those groups, send these questions to your teachers or your friends and ask them how to do it. That is why you need friends in A levels, not to go out to coffee shops or to watch movies or anything, to discuss these questions. Okay, so once you discuss these questions, you try to read and understand. After that, attempt it again. Next time, you can't get that question wrong. That is the goal. So then you keep doing that. Set a time. So within 4 hours, I need to do physics. Ideally, I should be able to finish 2000 A-level MCQ and the structure, ideally. But I'm only going to spend 4 hours. So within that 4 hours, do as much as you can. As much as you can. Doesn't mean you need to complete it. If not, there are some people at the one question, for one question, they will spend 1 hour. It is wasting your time. So within that 4 hours, complete it. And then if you can't complete it, no problem, move on to the next one. Move on to the next one. Again, same principle. Do the questions. If you can't understand the question, try to read the review book, check on YouTube. And even after that, if you can't, send it to your teachers or send it to your friends and let them explain it to you. Okay, so you do that for chemistry also. So now, let's say for biology, I allocated 5 hours. Within 5 hours, I need to finish this. I couldn't finish. Chemistry, so physics, I allocated this for 4 hours. I couldn't finish it. For physics, for chemistry, I allocated 1 hour. I couldn't finish it. Let's say, so the ones that you couldn't finish, you put it for the next day. Is that clear? Because for me, I consider studying like a job. 6 to 6. After that, I'm not going to study. 6 to 6, if I study, I'm not going to study at 8 p.m. 6, 1 even, I'm not going to study. That's how I decide. Because if you completely partition your life like that, while studying, you will make sure that you study and you also have something to look forward to. So now when you're feeling, when you can't do it, just say, okay, only doing 6 o'clock. If I finish this, I can have whatever I want at 6, 1 to 10 p.m. So I watched movies, I watched anime. I have finished so many anime series during my A-levels on. During my holidays, I can't watch a single one. I don't know whether you all also experience this. When you have a holidays, vacation with nothing to do, I can't watch any TV series. But when there's an exam nearby, when I have so much work to do, I can finish a big series in like 1-2 days. So at 6 to 10 p.m., I did whatever I want. And again, at around 9:30 p.m., I decided what I want to do the next day. And then rinse and repeat. Start and finish. Now let's say You got tired due to some illness, you got sick, and you woke up at 10 p.m. Sorry, 10 a.m. You wanted to start your day at 6 and now it's 10. So I wanted to start at 6, so now it's 10. Today, let it go. Has that happened? Has that happened? You wanted to start at 6. It's 6, fine. Okay, I'll start at 6:30. It's 6:33. I'll start at 6. It doesn't have to be a nice number to start. You can start studying at 6:46. You can start studying at 5:23. You don't have to wait to 5:15, 5:20. No. Is there a rule? And you only learn when it's at a nice number. You can start at any time. Now, just because you wake up at 11 o'clock, the only time that you have wasted is this. You haven't wasted the rest of your day. Okay. So when the only time you have wasted this, don't waste this. Whatever you missed, it's okay, you missed. Right? From this point onwards, work to the best of your ability. Work to the best of your ability. And at 6 o'clock, if you feel like you didn't do that much work, no problem. Continue. But if you feel like, I can't do it anymore, it's okay to take a break. Consistency is not giving your maximum every day. It's not giving 100% every day. It's giving the best that you can for that day. So on a certain day, if you can only give 70%, if you give your entire 70%, it's like you gave 100%. You understand what I'm saying? If on a certain day, you can only give 70%. If you give your entire 70%, that means you gave your 100%. So like that, try to be consistent as much as you can. There will be certain days where you can't. Even at those moments, you need to try. Motivation will come and go. Some days you will feel motivated to study. Some days you will not feel motivated. But discipline is something that will stay. Discipline is the main reason as to why a certain student can get into medicine and another student can't. If medicine is what you want to do, if 3 years is what you want to get, discipline is the most important one. Talent and all comes second. If you can work hard, we don't have Einsteins. Now, once you come to university and only you will see all of the ones that are there in university also just like us. There are no crazy geniuses in university. Everybody works hard. Okay. So if you work hard, you should be able to get. Now, why did I do this? 30 days during Ramadan. I think this was 5 months of 6 months before the exam. I'm not very sure. During fasting, you're tired, no? During fasting, you're tired. So now, if I put this recording, if I put this, that's a good question. But if we have to go to school, I will answer that. Now, if I put this recording, let's say on YouTube or something, and my parents see this, they will surely ask me why you didn't study in that 30 days to, maybe go to Columbia University. So, but okay, I will tell it anyway, because I'm also human. So these 30 days during fasting, I was super tired, woken up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then when you're starting to eat, and then you have to study without eating. So what I did was, these entire 30 days, I didn't study. I didn't study. I only did the reviews though. These reviews, I did. Because if you don't study, if you don't do reviews, it's like that stuff you will forget, no? And it's such a pain. If you forget, it's such a pain. So I only did these reviews for biology. I didn't do a single physics or chemistry sum. I didn't study anything new for these 30 days. The morning I woke up, as soon as we ate, I did the reviews, and then I put my laptop or iPad on the, now the bed is like this. Okay, the bed is like this. At the edge of the bed, I put the iPad and the laptop on the bottom. I kept like this, and I was watching TV series fully. I know you're not supposed to do that during fasting also, but I was very tired. So I was watching TV series fully, all the way up to 6 o'clock. Then I ate, and then after you eat, you feel lethargic. And I slept. This is what I have been doing for 30 days. 30 days. Again, you will feel days like that, but 30 days is a little bit excessive. Please don't do that when you have only 6 months left for the exam. I do regret it a bit, but then it's okay. Now, if this was like 6 months before the exam, the remaining 6 months, I made sure I worked top to bottom so that this does not affect me in anything. Eventually, I made it. Okay, so this was the schedule I followed when I had 6 months left for the exam. Okay, now in my 2 years of A levels, so 2.5 years due to all the postponement, the first 1.5 years I didn't study at all because I played cricket for school. I tried to play cricket, I tried to make it into the first level team, but I couldn't. I attempted, I did make it to the second level team though. But then next year, if I continued to play, I may have got. But then Corona came, and then my parents were like, start studying for A levels. So then I stopped all of it. My parents may be a little bit sad, and I was also a little bit sad that I couldn't make it into the first 11 team. So then I was like, okay, why not study? So in the last 1 year, I studied. In the first 6 months, I studied normal. I used Khan Academy. I watched YouTube videos to learn a little bit of the physics and chemistry theory. But in the last 6 months, I worked crazy. I worked very hard. Like these days, almost 95% consistent. 90%, maybe 90% consistent. If there are 10 days, 9 days I follow this method. No school also. I didn't go to school. And about the classes. So during this period, there are classes also. So now let's say I have a physics class. So let's say physics class is 3 hours, then this physics studying will not be done on that day. So whatever class I have on that day, I don't do that subject. Okay. For biology, I didn't go for classes. So I studied biology by myself every day. Chemistry, I went for classes. So if I did chemistry class on that day, I didn't do chemistry. Okay. So what I did was everything was online. Everything was online. So I joined the class. If the sir is uploading recordings, then I don't join that class also. If he's not giving recordings and it's only a live session, I join using my laptop and I put it to record. And I study something else during that time. I study something else during that time. After I finish the recording, I watch it in 1.5 times speed. So there are many sirs now who give questions during class. So when he gives a question during class, he gives like 10 minutes for the student to attempt it or 15 minutes for the students to attempt it. So the reason why he gives that is to make sure even the worst student in his class can do that question within that time. But I don't need 15 minutes for a question like that. Let's say I finish it in like 2 minutes or 5 minutes. Then as soon as I finish, I skip it to the discussion. So then I don't waste any of my time. So I was stingy like that. My time was very valuable. If you have any self-respect for yourself in these last 6 months, that is how you will spend your time. Your time is your money. Okay. So then I watched the recording and then I did the discussions and I studied that subject. And then I continued with my rest of the day. School. So now one student asked how I did this with school. Last 6 months, or anyway, we didn't go to school. There were school sessions also. I didn't go for a single one. I didn't do any practicals because there was no way to do practicals. No. So all of the practicals I was using YouTube videos, internet, everything. But I'm not telling you all not to go to school also. If you do go to school, it's difficult to study like this. If you do go to school, it's difficult to study like this. So if you do go to school, let's say you start at 3 o'clock, like a 12-hour session like this is not possible. So you need to study from 3 to 8 or 3 to 9. Or if it's close to the exam, then 3 to 10. You will not be able to get that leisure period I got. I got that leisure period from 6 to 10. From 6 to 10, I can do whatever I want. That leisure period you will have to sacrifice if you are going to school. That is the thing. But usually school attendance, is it checked in the last month? Last month also they checked. And they made it compulsory. Okay. Then I think it's best to go to school on. Then it's best to go to school. I did it from St. Thomas's because it was Corona. They didn't check the attendance that much. So this was my best schedule ever. This is how I followed to get 387 Z score of 2.194. Right. So if you're going to school, then you need to sacrifice that leisure period. But if I was you, I wouldn't go to school. Because I want that leisure period. Because that is the one that recharges me for the next day. Okay. Right. So this is how you study. Long hours of time. So now if you don't go to school, Saturday, Sunday you're free, no, except for class. Then Saturday, Sundays you can follow this. Okay. School time, you start, if your school finishes at 1:30, if you come home by 2:30 also you start. This is my schedule. It might be good for me, but whatever works for you, works for you. Okay. So if you want to change up a few things, it's okay. But just make sure that you give your maximum every day. Is that clear? Okay. So any questions regarding this? Any questions regarding this? Do you all have any other question now when I told you how to study, how I study for longer periods? Do you all have any problems you all face when you all are studying? Any problems? Only if you study, no, you will encounter problems. No, if you study, no, you will encounter problems. If you don't study, how will you encounter problems? Okay, never mind. So no questions, no? So then follow this, then it should be enough. Okay. Then we will move on to our